Today on This Week in Startups, Leah Culver, the founder of Convor, is with us. We'll take some questions in the Ask Jason segment. And Mike Bracco, heartthrob. Mike Bracco is back to give us the news. Tyler, any insights today?
At least one. At
least one, a guaranteed Tyler Insight Show. All that and more, blah, 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 on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Oh my God, we're here on This Week in Startups, and we're, what are we, like a week away from the event? 5 days away.
Yeah, less than a week.
Less than a week till the launch conference. I am bleary-eyed. I mean, how many hours did we sleep the last 2 days?
You look tired.
I look terrible, right?
You look tired, I look tired.
You can always, I have like a lazy eye, and so anytime I'm tired, it just sort of like drifts. I'm like, like you look at pictures of me like at events when I'm like exhausted. It's like, anyway, boy, the companies are looking great, though. You have to admit, this is as good of a year as ever.
I am on the record as saying it's the strongest year yet.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big statement when we had Power Set, Mint.
And I mean no disrespect
Red
to the previous years.
Yammer, Fitbit, SeatGeek.
Just at this level where it's at, like there's a bunch of startups that...
There are some that are just clearly going to be huge. I'm so happy. And you know, the conference is in the black now, which is great.
Yeah.
That's like...
Yeah, it's great.
Well, it's great because
on the first time doing
solo,
and
when you're charging $400 and I'm giving away tickets, like I mean, I'm like making it rain on Hacker News every other day. I'm like, hey, what's up, Hacker News? Who needs a ticket? Boom. Who wants a table? Boom. I'm like, hey, I don't have Mike Arrington like holding me back. I'm just like, hey, free, everybody come. Who cares?
You wanted to do that in previous years.
I did. I was like, hey, let's be mentions. Let's get. Yes. I always wanted to let the people who don't come to conferences, who actually build stuff, come to the conference.
I think that's the crazy kind of cool thing about it is. The conference
it's nuts.
It's about celebrating the launching of these startups and giving and being generous and like you know, reciprocating.
Yeah.
That's the whole spirit of it.
It's the whole spirit of like launching and kicking ass.
And hence you never even mentioned Mahalo ever in a single year.
No.
Not even mentioned the word Mahalo.
Why would you need to mention the 160th largest site on the internet?
No, but for somebody who lives, breathes, eats
on the interwebs,
Mahalo,
United States interwebs. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not going to plug myself.
For those 2 weeks, or do you literally never mention it once?
What do you think? I'm not going to sell Mahalo at the conference and make that take over the entire conference?
No, but I'm trying to make the point very clear that this is an incredibly gracious act on your part that you do, and that's your approach to it. You're not approaching it like the business, and I'm trying to make money, and
it's not business.
And well.
It's a movement.
Yeah, I mean, there was a previous partner, and you wanted this to be this awesome charitable event.
I wanted it to be a
celebrated startups.
And now it is.
And now it is.
And you know what? There were haters all over the place. There were people trying to stop us. I can't get into the details, but there were all kinds of things going on, which when I write my book, when I turn 50, I'm going to hit the publish key on the book. Yeah. And this chapter,
jaws are going to drop.
This chapter is going to be so nuclear. You're like one of 3 people who knows the backstory. I mean, the only other people who know the backstory are the people who got the phone calls. But I mean, it's going to be a hell of a backstory.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Jaws will drop.
Jaws will drop in chapter 8.
Yep.
I cannot wait. Hey, let's go through the potential guests on Twist. Daniel Eek, founder of Spotify. That's a yes. Alex, founder of Food Spotting. It's kind of boring, right? I mean, you just take pictures of food. I'm saying no right now. It's not important.
I love exposing the process here.
You have to expose
the transparency.
Eric, the founder of SoundCloud. Now that's interesting. That's a Fred Wilson thing he invested in. It's going to be like an API thing for all audio. I'm going to say yes on that.
I have Michael Robertson call in on that.
Chris Dugan, founder of Badgeville. White label check-in software. That's not a good idea. No. Bill Gross of Uber Media. That's a prescient thing because they got all banned today. Dennis Fong, founder of Raptor. 6 million members.
I'm trying to get Bill on the phone here.
I should. Dennis Fong, founder of Raptor. You ever heard of that?
Of what?
Raptor? R-A-P-T-R? I'm going to say no. I haven't heard of it. Will Cole, founder of KnowAbout.it. No. Desiree Vargas, founder of Give Forward, Kickstarter of medical expenses. Oh, we had them on the news. It's an interesting idea, but I don't think it will carry the half-hour interview. Garrett Camp, founder of StumbleUpon, that's a yes. He kicks ass. Anthony Irwin, founder of StreetSpark, offers real-time compatibility between users. If I can't understand what it is from one sentence, I mean, that's just a no by default. I mean, Michael Smith, founder of Mind Candy, poised to be the Facebook for kids. Kids shouldn't be on Facebook. That's a no. Rich Skrenta, founder of Blacko, that's a definite yes. So we got yes to Daniel from Spotify, yes to Eric from SoundCloud, yes to Bill Gross from Uber Media, yes to Garrett Camp and yes to Richard. Okay, so we got that done. Hey, thank you to .co for sponsoring the show. Create your own opportunity. You guys all know about it. But this is exciting.
That was a fun episode with that guy.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
And it turns out like he potentially could have been viral in a literal sense, having just come from that Playboy party.
I know. Did you hear about that?
Epidemic.
The domain thing, and they all got sick with some terrible, horrible sickness because the fog machine was infected with bacteria.
The morning after.
And people, this is why I don't shake people's hands. This is why I'm totally OCD about germs, and like I don't like going to conferences. And when I'm at a conference, I get the Purell.
I was listening on NPR. They were talking about it.
I know. It's absolutely. Anyway, and like who would ever go to the Playboy Mansion? Like I've been invited to that place 10 times. I'm not like, because if I went there, I wouldn't be able to touch anything. Like if they hand me a glass of wine, I'd be like, like you can hand me they could hand me a glass of Listerine maybe, like, and I would pour the Listerine on my hands, but I would not. So we're having a contest to celebrate .co. This is going to be great. Hey, you know the MacBook Air? Right there that I got you?
This little bag.
Beautiful.
Right?
Who got you that?
Huh? My bag?
Who got you that?
The one that fits in my bag?
It for you? You know I got it for you. I treat you well. Anyway, turns out the MacBook Air 13 is super expensive if you put everything in it. So I put everything in it, and we're going to give away a MacBook Air over the next, this is like the $2,000 plus one with like the biggest memory, 4 gigs, 2.13 gigahertz, 256 gig flash storage, blah, 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 blah. Awesome computer. We're going to give one away for free. All you have to do is create your own .co. It has to be a new site. And tweet it with the #twist hashtag. Whichever site is the funniest, coolest, whatever. In a couple of weeks, we're going to give that person that MacBook Air. So we'll do it like maybe in, I don't know, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Send the contest entries to contest@thisweekend. Jason and Tyler will judge. The contest ends April 1st. There you go. The contest ends April 1st. Our next guest is a serial entrepreneur who I've always been a big fan of. She creates beautiful products and has done a lot of innovative stuff. I don't think she's gotten a lot of credit. She sort of got her ass kicked on the first company, Pounce, which was super innovative, and I used to use and loved it. They sold it. But now she's got a new product that I was just using the other day, Convor. You may have seen it.
I was like, Ryan Carson tweeted this out and he was complimenting the design, and he's got incredible design sets.
The design is wicked, and the functionality is wicked, and I was like, wow, this is kick-ass.
He tweeted it, and I had to pull over and check. Like, if Carson's complimenting the design on something, like it's got to be.
Yeah, Carson knows what he's doing. Anyway, Leah Culver, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Oh, wow, we can hear you. Awesome.
Good.
So tell us, Convor, or Convor, I guess. What is it? Why did you create it?
Sure. Well, Convor is a site for groups to get together and chat about a variety of topics. So it's a real-time app. It's about conversations and chatting, and it's about groups.
Got it. And so I'm pulling it up on my screen here. People can see very clean design. You've got your sort of members on the left here for the Hacker News Group, for example. And then it's sort of like, I almost feel like it's a next generation message board forum, because it feels like a forum because you start threads, but it's in real time. And boy, does it like, it seems to work very fluidly. Like you can start a group. It was like the fastest starting of a group I've ever experienced on the web. How are people using it, and how much did you how much did you focus on making it super fast to get a group going?
Sure. People are using it for a variety of cases. For example, a lot of friend groups are on there, nice private friend groups. There's also special interest groups like Hacker News or Django Community. And then there's a variety of businesses using it internally for communication. And I think it was really important for us to have people have the ability to make a group really fast, to get started, to invite people. And really important to make the whole process, the whole onboarding process really easy. We actually just made a group for This Week in Startups. If you go to convor.com/twist, there is now a group for your show as well.
Yeah, and it seems like I don't know what you built it in, but it's incredibly snappy and fast for a website. Tell me about the architecture.
So it's mostly written in Python using Django for the front end and using some tools on the back end, some Python libraries. So Python.
Yeah. And this is part of, are you part of Y Combinator now with this, or?
Yeah, so we started working on Convor back in October, and we're accepted into Y Combinator for January. So we're in Y Combinator right now.
And so tell us, why did you choose to do that? I mean, you're a pretty established entrepreneur. You could probably raise angel investing without going through the program. What was the decision there?
So I had heard from friends about the program and had learned a lot about it and had been checking it out on Hacker News. And it seemed like the thing people don't realize about Y Combinator is it's not just about the funding and getting to meet with Paul Graham. Yes, that's part of it, but you also get advisement from a variety of people who have an interest in seeing your business succeed, and there's a lot of great connections that you can make in Y Combinator.
So in your mind, obviously well worth whatever it is, 6% for 20 grand and 12 dinners. It's not just the 12 meetings, it's really the community, maybe, the network?
Yeah, definitely. And the 5-6% is common stock. So it's essentially like your first employee, right?
Yeah, it's like they're in on it with you. And so I guess you're part of the class that Yuri Milner came in and said everybody gets free money. Did you take the 150,000? What was that night like? It seemed like it was very exciting.
That was so much fun. So everyone within Y Combinator is using Convor to communicate with each other, and that night was wild. So what happened was the night before, we had a different YC event, and at that event, Paul Graham said, "We have a surprise for you tomorrow. Come in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and there'll be a surprise." But he didn't tell us what it was, right? Like, we had no idea. We thought it was going to be, Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg giving a talk. We had no idea it was going to be Yuri and Ron. And so we were on Convor trying to figure it out, trying to guess. So for us, it was kind of a big deal as a company, not only the funding, but the fact that Convor kind of took off at that point. It was exciting.
So you guys took the funding, I take it. I mean, you'd be crazy not to take it, I guess.
Right.
And so what was your thinking in terms of evaluating, should we take the money or not? Was it just an obvious decision? Did you talk to your lawyers or partners? I mean, the terms seem extraordinarily favorable.
Yeah, it's the kind of deal where Paul Graham says, don't focus on raising money during Y Combinator is kind of his spiel. But he said these are the terms where we tell companies take them. So
yeah. Let's go back in time and talk about Pounce for a second. I'm trying to remember when you started it. Was it 2004 or 2005?
Oh, no, later than that.
2006?
No, it had to be 7.
It was sort of like right after Twitter had its South by Southwest moment, I think.
Yeah, around that same time.
Another beautiful product, another one based upon communication, and very sophisticated, I remember. Threaded messaging, embedding of YouTube videos, uploading of MP3s, private messages, if I remember correctly. You had like maybe 10 features that to this day Twitter doesn't even have.
Yeah.
How do you look back on that, the sale to 6apart? Are you melancholy about that? Are you bummed about it? Had high expectations? What did you learn?
So the thing I'm really sad about is that we had a pretty good community and a good group of people that loved the app. And so that was always sad to have to shut down something that so many people really loved. Overall, from the experience, it was just a really great experience. It was the first site that I had ever built that was a real startup, my first thing. And so, yeah, just learned a lot from the whole thing.
And how did the sale come about? Did you guys just run out of money, or you just couldn't fund it? I mean, because the community was really pissed off that 6apart was like, hey, we're acquiring this, and we're shutting it down. Like, was this out of your control, or?
6apart's a great company. We didn't actually know exactly what they were going to do with Pounce. But we really liked the people there, and we liked the philosophy, and we really liked their other products that they had done in the past, like TypePad and Box and Movable Type. And so we thought it would be a good fit for Pounce. But what happened was sort of 2009, right?
Yeah.
Not the best year for startups in general. A lot of sites were closing down in 2009.
Yeah. So you took some lumps on that one, but coming back
Yeah.
strong again with this product. How is it different than some of the other things like Campfire, Tiny Chat, just a straight up IRC chat room? What do you think the strengths are versus those other solutions?
Right. Well, we definitely took inspiration from IRC. We're big fans of IRC here, but we wanted to make something that was a little less high tech. Like IRC feels very techy and kind of 90s.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to do something that was easier for people to use, but sort of had that same sort of feel. And Campfire, of course, 37 Signals Campfire is a business collaboration app, and they're great too. But again, you have to pay to use it. It's targeted towards businesses. So we kind of wanted to do something kind of in the same vein, but really for consumers and free.
And so is there a business model right now, or are you just sort of taking the approach, let's get to scale? Is there going to be a premium? Are you going to, I saw these sort of Yammer folks and everybody were like, this is interesting. Do you see those as competitors or Socialcast as a sort of way to go with it, or a prosumer version?
So right now we are considering several different options for making money, and I think a very obvious route is the Yammer type Campfire. Let's charge businesses for it. I think that's a really obvious one. But right now we're mostly focused on getting a lot of users, getting a lot of feedback, and really making it the best sort of product that we can.
Yeah. And so how many people working on the product? How long did it take?
So there's 3 of us, two developers, 1 designer. And we've been working on it on and off since October, full-time in January.
And what is your role? I mean, you're a developer, I think, primarily, right?
Yeah. My background's in development, and I definitely work on developing the product. But now it's been a lot more, I've sort of shifted over to taking over some of the business responsibilities as well.
Oh, really? So you're sort of, are you the CEO, or do you have a CEO?
I am the
Wow.
CEO.
So you will get further and further away from the code as you take that job. Why did you choose to do that?
Because one of my co-founders, Eric Florenzano, is a fantastic guy. He's super technical. He's big in the Django community and the Python community. So he's big into the communities for the programming languages that we're using on Convor. So I sort of said, okay, you handle the technical things, and I'll try and do business this time around. So.
And
yeah, kind of got stuck with it.
Yeah, that's a story of my life. It's like you get stuck with the CEO job, and the CEO job is basically every problem that nobody else can solve, that is really frustrating, they bring to you, and then you have to try to solve those, as opposed to the ones that are easy to solve or moderate, and they just solve those, but they bring the hard ones to you. Tell me about what it's like. Because I'm a big fan of Hacker News, and I'm in there, and then anytime you post, you seem to have like 1,000 people comment, and it becomes like attacking Leah, and she's not a great programmer, and then she's a girl, and this sort of like weird back and forth. People seem to obsess over you a little bit. What is that like, and can you use it to your advantage, and how does it affect you as an entrepreneur?
It's interesting. It's not something I expected when we started Pounce. I'm pretty out there and open. I do comment on Hacker News. I do write blog posts, and the reactions are quite interesting. But being someone online yourself, you put yourself out there, you're going to get reactions. So.
Yeah. And I guess in a way, people know who you are. You've become like a sort of a brand. I mean, that helps with getting meetings, I take it, and hiring folks and getting partners.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's next for the company? Are you going to do a formal round, or does that 150 carry you for another 6 months or a year? What's your thinking in terms of just as an entrepreneur? How do you take the sort of success of Y Combinator now and build it into a sustainable business?
So Y Combinator isn't really an end result in itself. After Y Combinator is over, you need to be able to continue to grow the company. And for us, Y Combinator was just sort of a starting point. We're definitely, demo day is coming up in March. which is where you present to a bunch of investors and they sort of decide whether they want to fund your company or not. And so we're right now just working towards demo day, getting as many users as possible, getting all our ducks in a row leading up to demo day.
When is demo day?
You said March? It's in March?
Yes, I think it's the end of March.
Can anybody go to demo day, or is that you have to be invited? I've never been invited. I'm an angel. I should go.
You want an invitation to demo day?
I should go. I mean, I've invested in a.
What's the date?
I mean, I brought Reportive to the United States, and I think they were last time Y Combinator. But I guess I invested. A lot of the companies coming in now invested in before they start.
It's a mix.
Yeah.
You know, there are a few that have been invested in before they come in, but I think the majority are not.
Is it like a frenzy to meet the Y Combinator companies? Or do you find people like waiting outside of the Y Combinator building, or is it like people trying to get to you early, like the list gets leaked? Do you have people pinging you like, oh my God, you're a Y Combinator company, I need to meet with you?
No, and we hope that it stays that way. I think that's kind of discouraged. Most of the time, if you approach someone that's in Y Combinator prior to demo day, they say, wait for demo day, you know, come see us at demo day and we'll talk to you then.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
But then why did they let Yuri go and buy out the whole store beforehand? Has that created a weird vibe that like one person got to invest in everything and then everybody else has to wait till demo day, or did that come up?
You're going to have to talk to Paul Graham about that one.
No, I was just curious if it affected you or you guys thought about that in terms of where it's going. So what are your thoughts on, we had the founder of Discuss on, you build something like this, it's got sort of a narrow focus, real-time communications, building it out into social network, full bore, which is sort of what you were doing with Pounce, and actually had a really good community there that loved the product. Is this something where you think it could, like Path and some other things, grow into a full-blown social network? Is that part of your aspiration?
Oh, yes, definitely. A full-blown social network with many, many users is definitely our goal.
And what do you think, this day and age, you have Facebook out there as a juggernaut, is there room for more social networks, or is it just these ones have so much scale that it's going to be impossible to crack, into building is there going to be another Facebook or Twitter?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, look at a company like Instagram, right? Having 1 million users right off the bat, just very young company. If you do social in sort of the right way, you can sort of get that momentum and get people using it. And people use all sorts of different tools. There's always room for new stuff.
Yeah. Talk about that viral coefficient and the sign-up process and everything. I didn't feel like when I used the product I was too infringed upon to invite a bunch of people. It seemed like you were sort of playing it a little bit slow, like, okay, you created your group, now it's up to you to market it. A lot of other products, it's like, you've created your group, now you have to go invite people and post it here and post it there. Are you purposely maybe throttling a little bit, early on, in terms of what do they call it, the viral coefficient?
Yeah, so I think part of it is that we haven't spent a lot of time building out those tools quite yet. But at the same time, with Convor, there's the concept of a group, right? So when you make a group, it's not our group, it's not Convor's group, it's your group. You made it. So there's really that sense of ownership, and we want to make it so that when you own a group, it's your community. Yeah. So definitely that's part of it.
And do you see it competing with the sort of Google groups of the world and sort of paralleling an email? I know after I signed up, I just got flooded with email. Like, I guess I tweeted it, so then everybody who, I might be an edge case, but I got it's like 50 emails immediately because so many people were adding me. Do you see it in the way Google groups parallels an email on the web as being sort of that type of experience, or do you see it more like a tribe group or a Facebook group? I mean, is there an inspiration for a certain group methodology for this?
Yeah, I think the two main groups that we took inspiration from, or two main sites, were Google Groups and IRC, which is actually like a little bit older, but we tried to combine sort of the two of them. Like I think Google Groups does a really good job of having like a cohesive mailing list group, who's in the group. You stay updated because it goes to your email. So we do things like we send an email for each new topic that's created. And I think that's what you're referring to, getting a lot of email. We have settings now. You can kind of scale that back a little bit.
Yeah.
We didn't expect it to be so bad right away. But
yeah, I think people don't, when you all of a sudden you have 100 people come to the group and a third of them create new topics, it's like boom. But that's okay. I mean, that's
yeah. It's one of the growing pains, right? We didn't really anticipate that, so.
Yeah. What other products out there are you particularly impressed with? Because I've always thought you've had a really good product sense. Pounce I was very impressed with and sad when it went away. And this product as well just feels very tight. What products in the market do you respect a lot and are you impressed with today?
Right now I'm really into Instagram and Path, both of them.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting because they kind of have a little bit of a product overlap. But at the same time, I think they're both fantastically well designed. And they're both just perfect for what you want to do on an iPhone, which is take photos, share them with people. It's just, they both are fantastic.
Why do you think people who are, designers, whatever, internet vanguard are so compelled by Path, and then everybody else says things like, oh my God, that's so dumb. I'm like such an uber fan of it, and then it's like this whole contingent of people who are just think it's brilliant, and then there's this whole group who just doesn't get it. What is it that we're getting or not getting that those people don't get?
It might be a social network effect. You need like a certain number of people on Path for it to be interesting. So if you don't know other people there, it's the social network chicken and egg problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest contributing factor. That's my guess.
Yeah. And what else? What else do you like in the marketplace? Instagram, you said?
Instagram and Path for this very similar reasons. I really like, and this is going to sound crazy, I just downloaded a Mac app called Sparrow, which is a Gmail client for desktop, and I'm in love with it right now. So Gmail actually just enforced one account per person sort of rules. So if you have a Google Apps account and a Gmail account, you can't use two accounts with Gmail anymore. So yeah, so got kind of hooked on Sparrow email.
So it's actually a client, a downloadable client to access it. Interesting.
It's really beautiful. It's just very beautifully made in the same way that other Mac apps like Tweety and things are really well made. So
it seems like design is a competitive advantage. Clearly, but then you see these other sites that are terribly designed, whatever it is, Craigslist, eBay, or Huffington Post, like some of these things look almost like they're trying to make them look ugly on purpose. Like Huffington Post, they could not possibly be more of a mess on an information architecture basis, and then you have these like super elegant things. How does one reconcile the fact that you have these amazing successes with terrible design, and then sure, design can make something very successful as well?
There's a difference between designing for utility and designing to look good. So user experience design, sometimes something like Craigslist has a really good user experience, even though it's not in the other type of design, like the pretty polished graphic design.
Yeah.
So I think as long as people know how to get around your site and they have those visual cues to know how to navigate, it's not necessarily that important that it's super pretty.
How does your team work in terms of wireframes versus directly mocking things up in code or whiteboards? What's your design process? There's been a lot of talk about developer-driven culture, firing product managers. What's your take on it?
So I am a developer by trade, but I do spend, so the process kind of goes like this for me. Having an idea, like a need for something, a desire, like the desire to improve upon IRC and improve upon group chat and group communication. And then thinking about, okay, now that there's this idea, how sort of would it be laid out and how would it feel and what sort of features are the most important, and then drawing it out. I usually draw out stuff on paper. I draw like the actual interface, and of course it doesn't look great, it's just pen on paper, or on the whiteboard. And then implementing it, and then our designer here at Convor comes in after it's implemented and just does a nice fresh coat of paint on it and makes it look really beautiful.
Yeah. So developers engaged in the actual functionality, not just being told, hey, build this, and then maybe the interior decorator comes in and makes it look polished.
We all pretty much have a say in the product, and I think that sort of having there's only 3 of us here, so having other people to bounce ideas off with is really, really important. I think everyone here has a pretty good sense of where they want the product to go.
This has been a change since you got into the industry. I mean, I think back in the day, developers were sort of looked at as plumbers as opposed to, you know, the sort of conceiving of the idea, owning the user experience, owning the process. Is that your experience? It's shifted over the last 10 years?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And you bring up Y Combinator. That's one of the things that Y Combinator does is they say hackers can also be these creators of product. So almost everybody that Y Combinator funds is a hacker of some sort or another.
Yeah, it's almost like it's amazing now. It's changed all of angel investing. It's amazing why Combinator's effect, because now if you are just an idea person and you come with a business plan, angel investors sort of laugh at you. They're like, well, I have all these other Y Combinator companies and other developers bringing me an idea that they've actually made into a model that I can play with. And if I can play with it, then I can decide if I like it or not. And so I tell people who have business plans, like, well, you're basically done. The world doesn't need you anymore. When if there's a developer who can actually build it and build a mock-up and test it in the marketplace, idea people are over, I think. If you have a question for Leah, put it in the chat room with a question mark and a colon, and then, or you can tweet it with #twist. And you're going to be at the launch conference. We have a table for you. You guys are coming?
Oh, yeah, we'll be there.
Awesome. A lot of VCs coming, a lot of angels coming, so hopefully we can help you guys get a jump on your round. Tyler, any decent questions from the audience?
There are.
Okay, let's hear one.
Domain Noob asks, how are you dealing with the spam inside of
yes.
the communities?
Yeah, how do you, because I mean in IRC, what a pain in the ass it is.
Yeah.
And then Ustream also doesn't seem to have this under control. Every time we have the show, it's like somebody comes in. So how do you deal with the spam and the moderation there?
So right now we're not doing a whole lot to deal with spam. We have sort of a ban hammer. Like we can just say you're banned or you're not. But we're working on building tools so that group owners, so say if you create a group and you own it and you're the admin of it, you have better tools to sort of control your own community and moderate it yourself, which is good.
And I guess that's the, that's funny. I just posted spam in the room and somebody said you're banned. I guess it's that easy, right? You just say you're banned and you ban the person.
Yeah. There's a lot of social pressure in chat to sort of keep it on topic and going well, so.
Yeah, you can always, I'm on the, when in This Week in Tech, they have like this amazing IRC channel and I'm always in it, and like, if you do anything wrong, like they're just like, they pounce on you, like, you're, so another question?
Yeah, the FOAT begs a question related to
what?
Somebody calling himself the FOAT.
That's a username.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
And he was brought up, Amit Kapoor from MySpace is doing a thing called Gravity, which is a Q&A community, kind of, not Q&A, but topical community. Like
topical
MySpace.
Chat rooms or something?
I think my take on what he was doing is similar to what the MySpace discussions were about.
Yeah.
And making a more social version of that. And then Brian Norgard and Dan here in LA also doing, both of those guys, really smart guys, rather well respected. It seems like this space is being approached.
All of a sudden, everybody wants to do, like, it's almost like AOL chat rooms or IRC done better.
But not just anyone. I mean, Leah as well, very respected,
product
smart people are approaching this space. Why is it this space so
any theories
appealing
on why everybody is coming at this at once with their own sort of take
I
on it?
would even say not just everybody, like particularly
why are there a
smart
handful of smart people going after this at once, do you think?
That's a really good question. I think what we've been seeing is so in the last couple of years, sort of this is kind of comes from Pounce and Twitter and sort of the microblogging sphere is sort of the saying something and people retweet it or reply to it, and sort of that's a behavior that people want to do, right? So Twitter had to add on @replies that we didn't originally come with Twitter, right? So they added on @replies and retweeting because people want to have conversations.
Right.
So I think it's a natural evolution to say, okay, so how do we help enable people to have conversations online?
Yeah, I think that's there, and Twitter is particularly bad at having, like a group conversation, because there's always like people like Scoble or sometimes myself, although I've sort of stopped doing it, where they're just like, you're doing like 50 tweets an hour. You're not using Twitter properly. Twitter is supposed to be like 1 tweet a day or 2 tweets a day of the most important things you're doing. I'm like, really? That's exactly how Twitter is supposed to work? That's in the Twitter manual? Like, you're not actually supposed to have actually a chat or a conversation. I mean, it's...
One of the great things we found with Convor was we had Convor running during one of the events at YC, and everyone in our YC group is part of this Convor group. And what was happening was it became sort of the back channel for the event.
Yeah.
Like people were on there and chatting, and instead of tweeting where you're going to annoy your followers with your 500 tweets about what what the conference is about, you can sort of keep that all within Convor with other people that are at the conference.
Yeah, I love this. The interface with the groups where you can drop down and see the threads. I'll zoom in on it a little bit here. But really nice interface to just quickly catch up with the groups you follow. And I could see this really taking off, because the group functionality in Facebook is terrible. And the ability to add, like you add your friends to groups without their permission. Like, I started getting these crazy emails, like people adding me to groups on Facebook, and this is terrible. But now it seems much more organized. So this also seems like something where you could partner with a lot of sites. Is this going to be white labelable, or like, can I take this and like embed it on my site? Is that part of the roadmap? I would think that like a TechCrunch or a Hacker News or a Mahalo or a whatever site would love to take this and put it on their site, and even pay for that. The same way Discuss is plugged into sites. Is that part of the roadmap or part of your thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we're thinking about doing, and we might do it on a small scale sooner than a larger scale. So sort of embeddable widget sort of things might happen a little bit sooner than a full-blown white label version. But it's definitely a cool idea. I would love to, be able to bring community experiences, real-time community experiences to a lot of the existing communities.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's funny. I mentioned that somebody just posted their question. Will you be able to pull the functionality through an API? I know that.
So we have an API already.
Yeah.
So yes.
You built on top of the API, I take it. You built your own API, eating your own dog food, so it's
Yes.
ready to do that. Well, Leah, congratulations. Big fan of your work. Was very sad to see Pounce, go away, and I know that must have been very difficult for you because I've been there. But I knew you would come back, and I knew you'd come back strong with a great product, and this is a great product. I think you're going to have tremendous success with it. So I wish you the best, and I'll see you next week at the conference.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good luck. Awesome. It's just great to see, like, this is what entrepreneurship is about. Like, you get your ass kicked, and you keep going, right? And you learn. It's like, okay, Pounce, she wasn't exactly all in control of it. There was other factors, and, she fought through. And, it's like, I like the way she answers the question, too, about her getting dogged a little bit in the comments. I mean, it's sort of unfair. Like, just because you're a female, they're just like, oh, my God, she just gets attention because she's a female. And this is not a difficult programming task. And it's like, well, the best sites and the most successful ones are not driven by difficult tasks. I mean, would it be difficult to make the Facebook photos sharing? Was Twitter difficult to build? No.
Right.
Twitter is the 10 people have built Twitters over the weekend. She built a much more sophisticated Twitter. But I feel like there's this misogynistic thing. If you're a developer and female, the other developers are really upset that you're getting more attention for your project because they feel this is disparity. And it's great that she doesn't even let it hit her consciousness, and she just well, I don't care. I'm just building my products, and if people like them, they use them. That's exactly the approach to take. And you do get judged by your work ultimately. I mean, look at me. I'm hated, and people still have to deal with me because my work is good sometimes. I'm kidding, but but it's true. I mean, even if somebody's upset at me, they can just say, "Oh, wow, I don't like them, but This Week in Startups is actually pretty good," or the Launch Conference is pretty good, or TechCrunch 50 was good, or Engadget. Your work speaks in this industry more than anything. And one piece of work that I love is MailChimp. Oh my God, MailChimp. 2,000 subscribers now for free. I use MailChimp literally every day. We're using it to manage all of the email communications at the Launch Conference. Now over 23,000 people subscribe to the Launch newsletter, and it's just flawless. And you know what? The speed is amazing. I had other email services in the past, and I would send an email, and there were so many people in the queue ahead of me that I would, sometimes my email would come out within an hour, other times it'd be 6 hours, and then I would be like out at dinner and the emails didn't come out and I have to call, and then I got to get some sysadmin on the phone. I mean, this is how Jason Nation used to work.
Yeah, I recall.
And it was just like this, well, you know, because you set it up.
Uh-huh.
And we just have this always back and forth. Now with MailChimp, we never wait. I don't know what they're doing over there.
You know what's funny about that?
What's funny about that?
The reason we started out with that initial one that'll remain nameless.
'Cause I'm an idiot?
So painful. No, because it was the most cost-effective option on the market
It was.
at the time.
At the time.
And now MailChimp is actually
It's-
about equal.
Yeah, I mean, it's like pennies to send this stuff.
And 1,000x the
Efficiency
quality,
and
yeah.
quality, and nobody, like, 1 out of hundreds of thousands of emails do I get somebody who says, like, I didn't get the email. And when I do, Lance from MailChimp, to the rescue, he talks to them. And I'm like, and Lance, like, is CC me on emails with people who didn't get the newsletter. I'm like, how does this company have the time? Not only do they, the last company wouldn't return my calls or your calls.
Right.
This company is returning our customers' calls. That's a great company. And they obsess. When I tell you they obsess, they're on the phone, they're emailing, hey, this person didn't get the newsletter. 1 out of 1,000,000 times we said, this person didn't get it. What happened? Oh, is it in their spam filter? Where is it? What's the IP address? They're like, boom, 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 like a SWAT team. Over 1 email.
like a gorilla.
Like a gorilla. They've redesigned everything, the site, the app. It's integrated with Amazon's new SES, and it handles transactional emails beautifully. It's free for up to 2,000 subscribers. I use it. Everybody who I've introduced it to loves it, just like Leah's Convor and Pounce and a lot of the other beautiful products, Squarespace. It's just one of those beautiful top-tier products that's going to just work for you. And boy, does email work. The guys at GDGT use it. The Jill over at Inhabitat uses it, and now I think O'Malley might be using it. Everybody's getting on email now. O'Malley started an email newsletter. He told me, oh, you were my inspiration. I said, thank you very much. Everybody's starting email newsletters. Why? It gets you through all the noise. You post something on Twitter, you post something on Facebook, nobody knows. You email something of substance with a great headline and good content, people respond, they take it in, they read it, they reply to you. It's old school, but it is like really deep connection. Thank you to MailChimp for sponsoring the program. Let's do an Ask Jason. Hello, hello, it's Jason. Who is it? Okay, on the line we have Andre. Is that correct?
Andre. Yep.
Okay, can we hear him? Let's get a give me a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Andre.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A little bit louder.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, there you go. You're calling from the 619. Where are you from?
Yeah, actually, Orange County.
What did he say?
Orange County.
Orange County, the OC.
I'm local.
I like it. I like it. Looks like you're DJing there. You're spinning on the 1s and the 2s. You have a question for us? Let's hear it.
Yeah, and actually, before I ask my question, I had a small insight, if I have time to share.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was watching a film this past weekend, and some of the reoccurring themes of Twist, I think, are number 1, the importance of execution. Number 2, the importance of perseverance. And then number 3, not letting kind of doubters, prevent you from obtaining your goals and your dreams. And I've concluded that these inspirational themes are like a pimp from Memphis who wants to be a rapper.
Wait. Say it one more time.
A pimp from Memphis who wants to be a rapper.
A pimp from Texas. No.
Memphis.
Memphis who wants to be a rapper. Hustle and Flow.
You got it.
Absolutely. Great film.
Yeah.
Love that film. So, what is your question?
So my question is, I come from a business background, but I'm looking to get into web development and into coding.
Yeah.
And the first part of my question is, where would you suggest that I begin?
Sure.
And then the second part is, what kind of things can I do as I'm learning to kind of help me, find that business idea that I would want to kind of pursue to build?
Okay, so first you have to actually learn how to use these skills, build some stuff. So there's plenty of books out there. There's lynda.com, which is a great instructional videos, and I think it's only like $50 a month, so it's pretty good. And actually, Mahalo is moving into that space. We're going to start teaching people how to use PHP or to code in HTML5. We're going to be building those things. So in the coming months, you'll see that on Mahalo. But lynda.com is a paid service right now, and I think it's probably worth it. I mean, if you got 40, $50 to spend a month, maybe do that for 3 or 4 months. There's plenty of online tutorials. There's plenty of books. Dive into something and build an actual site. And maybe build a couple of different sites. So one of the things people do with Django all the time is build their own blog software. So I would start by building your own blog, maybe in Squarespace or WordPress, learn how that works, learn how the plugin architecture works, and then build things that you yourself can use and get some of those common platforms under your belt, like Django, PHP, etc. I mean, it's not that difficult. There are books and this kind of thing. I don't know that there are schools for it. I don't know that there are classes, but there are plenty of blogs and news groups and IRC channels where people are talking about using this stuff. It's going to be a little bit higher than probably a newbie kind of way. So I think that's what the books are, the PHPs for Dummies and those kind of books, first-time programmer books are what you're going to want to do. Once you've built up a couple of things, then try to do special projects and go look into some of those news groups. You have any thoughts, Tyler?
It's a very different mindset than business.
Sure it is.
It's a very problem-solving, somewhat isolated. If you really love solving puzzles, then, but you'll find that out real quick.
Yeah, build something like that solves like a very tiny problem. Like,
but to kind of answer its question, where do you find inspiration for good ideas?
Yeah.
Startup Weekend, they throw out tons of ideas. I mean,
yeah, I think going to events can be a great way to do that. Also, looking at the problems in your own everyday life, the things that you find frustration in. Like, oh my God, I wish there was a better way to pay my credit cards, or I wish there was a better way to pay my parking tickets, or I wish there was a way to figure out what movie I should see. I wish there was a way to know what my friends were doing on Facebook, whatever it is.
Or anytime you or someone you know says the word why can't we, or why can't I?
Yes.
That's usually,
why isn't there an app for?
Why isn't there? Yes.
Yeah. So I would go on to, if I go on Twitter right now and I say, why isn't there an app for? And let's see what people are saying. Oh my God, it's saying that Twitter is over capacity. Who knew? We could have guessed that, right? I mean, that was obviously what was going to happen. Why isn't there an app for? If I just type it into Google, you'll probably find people talking about why isn't there an app for this, why isn't there an app for that. So yeah, just looking in the social networks and your friends' frustration is going to be one of the best places. Is that a pretty good answer for you?
Yeah, great insight, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we wish you well and keep watching the program. You have a favorite guest so far on the program?
Oh man, well,
favorite episode?
I discovered the program about 4 months ago, actually right around the time you guys did the Stork Brokers episode.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then I worked the entire back catalog, and I'm pretty much almost caught up now. So as far as favorite guest, I really liked David Hansen from
yeah,
that's
a classic.
You guys had a great dynamic.
Yeah, we had a good debate going, and
yeah, very fun to watch.
He really brought it. So congratulations on deciding to be an entrepreneur and learning actually how to build stuff. That's going to differentiate you from the other people who talk about doing things. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks so much.
Hey, Bowflex is sponsoring our fellow co-founder Kevin Pollak's show, and so I think we have an ad. Oh, I'm supposed to talk over the ad. Got it. Okay, I'm just watching the ad. Okay, so this is a Bowflex track climber, and it is amazing, and combines the motion of a treadmill, a stepper, and an elliptical all in one. How exactly does that work? So it's like a stepper, a treadmill, and an elliptical. I'm going to have to try that. I haven't tried it, but I think that's very cool. And thank you to them for sponsoring Kevin's show. Walkwithkevin.com, request online to get an info kit, 1-800-436-6063, 1-800-436-6063. Look at that, we got like a real live, awesome Bowflex sponsor here on the program. Thank you to them for sponsoring Kevin's show. Let's bring in Mike to do the news. Why isn't there an app for UFC to keep updated? Why isn't there an official app for PC? Why isn't there an app for Starbucks to deliver coffee to us? Good question. Why isn't there an app called iOutlet? I don't know. Oh, you could find all the outlets out there, public outlets. That's a good idea.
Power outlets?
Yeah. The location of power outlets, like in hotel lobbies, I guess, or airports. Crowdsource power outlets. That's good. I mean, this is an incredible idea. Why isn't there an iBooks app for OS X? Kindle is just about platform agnostic. So having iBooks, I guess, on your desktop, they don't have that yet.
You're looking at a Twitter search for why isn't there?
Why isn't there an app for? I actually did it even longer. So I mean, it's very specific. Or I guess you could just say, is there an app for, is another way to phrase it. So there's like 10 ways to phrase this, but is there an app for? So here we go. Is there an app for that? I'm not, it's like people joking, but let me see if I find one that's actually, anyway. It's all people joking about it. Union striking against taxpayers. Is there an app for that? Yeah, it's mostly people making goofs, but I bet you every 20 or 30 of them, you find one that actually is a pretty good idea. Mike, what's in the news?
Yeah, so a big story in the last couple hours that's been breaking. Twitter has suspended Uber Media clients for privacy and monetization violations, as well as trademark infringements. So Uber Media is an Idea Lab company that was originally launched as TweetUp, later became PostUp, and eventually pivoted when they bought Uber Twitter to become Uber Media.
Right.
And basically, they've been on a shopping spree, purchasing a bunch of Twitter clients, TweetDeck last week. So Twitter suspended Uber Twitter and Twidroid for violating its policies. The latest update is that Uber Twitter will change its name to Uber Social. And in terms of the privacy issues, they were related to how they were handling tweets longer than 140 characters. As far as the monetization concerns, related to affiliate links, which Uber Twitter says that they're not using. So anyway, as this unfolds, what do you think about this whole issue? I know you've long talked about building companies upon other companies.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Of course. I'm an investor in the company, so full disclosure, and I don't speak for the company, obviously. I think this is what happens when a company matures like Twitter, and there's a complicated issue around words like Twitter and tweet, and which ones does Twitter own and which ones does the community own. Like, I think these things take a little time to hash out, and I think that's what we're seeing here is a little bit of growing pains. Obviously, Twitter owns Twitter.com, but Uber Twitter, this Twitter, that Twitter, there's a bunch of different clients out there, so it's really sort of hard for people, I guess, to change the names of them and lose their client base, and then Twitter made it okay for a couple of years, and now they're changing their mind. So there's a little bit of that going on. And also, I think Twitter in the early days was run as a very organic community-like startup. And now you have Dick running it, and it's going to become a little more serious business. And maybe they are not going to be as friendly to the API crowd. So I think it started as like a sort of, API-driven company, and now it's going to become more like a Facebook-driven company. Because it needs to get serious revenue to become worth the valuation it's going to become. So if other people are making money off their ecosystem, I don't actually think that they're going to be so excited about that. And so now you're going to have, these kind of growing pains where I'm sure, Uber Media, is maybe scaring Twitter a little bit, like they're buying up all these Twitter clients, they're buying up a lot of the usage. And I guess that's not what Twitter wants. So I think Uber Media is going to have to keep iterating on what they provide as a service, right? And Twitter's going to have to make a decision about, do they want the users to have some say over what they do with their own feed? Adly is another example. Adly, at any moment, could be banned. Adly is breaking Twitter's terms of service. Nobody is allowed to put ads into the Twitter feed or have an ad system to do that. But Adly's doing it. And Adly's, the reason is because Adly has all these celebrities. And Twitter is probably really steaming. I'm sure Dick is really upset that Adly's going around and repping all the celebrities on Twitter and making all that money when Twitter probably thinks that's their business. And so Twitter's left with this sort of no-win situation, which they do what they did today, or if they were to shut down Adly, now everybody's going to be pissed off at them. And why would you do this to the Uber Twitter users. Why would you turn them off? It doesn't make any sense. They should probably make a public statement like, hey, we're going to turn it off on this day if these three things don't happen, as opposed to what happened today, which is pretty gangster, I think. And we don't know all the backstory. So, but I mean, what if they just turn off Adley? You know, like, well then, you know, Kim Kardashian can't do $5,000 tweets, and they're just gonna be like, well, F this, I'm off Twitter. If Twitter's trying to control my stream, like, shouldn't I have some control over it? So, the reason I'm so vested in Twitter is because it's my stream, and I own @Jason. But now, if Twitter says, you know what, we want to own @Jason, that's a really good handle. We want, you know, Jason, some other more famous Jason than you, Jason Kidd or Jason Bateman to own Jason, and they say we want that name back. We're going to auction it off. You know, like there's this sort of balance between them being authoritative and owning the ecosystem as opposed to the people who built the ecosystem. And like we built the ecosystem. We helped build it. We should have some benefit as well. And I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains. Whereas Facebook, Zuckerberg's been very clear from the beginning. This is my ecosystem. You know, like you are here, and I will change the rules, you know, as I please. And if you don't like it, go find another social network. I'm changing everybody over to public, you know, or I'm going to make the default public, and I'm going to change the way the newsfeed works, and I'm going to post your relationship status, or I'm going to do beacon. Like, it takes a lot for him to change his mind, like basically lawsuits. I mean, or protest outside his office, or senators calling. And I think Twitter had a much different approach, which was like very embracive of the, you know, the developers. But I said this from the beginning. It's, you know, when you build on top of another person's company, you have to reach some level of scale, in which I think Uber Media is doing right now. And it's, I don't know, they should just get on the phone and work it out. This is unprofessional, I think, you know, for everybody involved, and they should just easily work it out.
Do you think it's positioning? I mean, so Bill Gross was quoted as saying that this came as a total surprise. I'd have a hard time believing that Twitter would not have reached out to them prior to doing this. Do you think that's just sort of a marketing thing to get the sort of people behind Uber Media?
I don't know, so it's kind of hard for me to say, and I'm not super objective because obviously I'm friends with Bill Gross. But I would believe him. I believe it's probably a little bit of both. Like, maybe they sent like alerts, you know, to the email address that, you know, of the API handle, and nobody reads that email address. Like at Mahalo, we might get some emails to our YouTube or AdSense email, and nobody's really checking it. You know, but I don't think they picked up the phone and called and said, by the way, in 1 hour, we're turning off your service unless you change your name, which I think, yeah. So I don't know that happened, but maybe there's some kind of, this is probably some version of the truth that we're just not aware of, is what I would say. Who knows? We have partial information. What I do know is both are great entrepreneurs, both are great companies. They should work it out. Tyler, thoughts?
Twitter's definitely done a change of, you hinted at it by saying it was organic originally. It's definitely taking on a different sort of tone to its operations. And
more Facebook-like.
Yeah, more Facebook-like. I mean, it had this very...
authoritative.
Yeah, but it had you know, it's losing its endearing... you know,
character.
Yeah, character, which I think it was inherent in the early days of, you know, Evan, Biz, and Jack being there, and they were like the people's people, and it, you know, now it's turning into a big company. So,
yeah, it's losing. I mean,
which is great. I mean, everyone wanted that to happen for them, you know, but
it's great, but
it comes at a price.
Maybe it does come at a price, and maybe they're losing their soul a little bit.
It's becoming a real business, like you said.
Well, I mean, but Apple's a real business, but it still has its soul.
You know what's funny about it? Everyone used to tease Twitter about, yeah, but is it a real business? How can it be a real business? Well, guess what? Now it's becoming a real business.
And now there's going to be this growing pains.
And now there's growing pains, right?
Yeah. But it's also, but it seems very authoritative. Like, they also did this thing where they told somebody who was doing a blog post about their experience using promoted tweets, and they forced them to take it down. And I was like, well, I would really like to hear somebody sharing their best practices about their ad campaign and showing their statistics. But Twitter forced them to take it down. I mean, that's like a Facebook level tactic. Like, you can't talk. You spent money with us as part of a promoted tweet, and you wanted to share with the community how that ad campaign did and what best practice you learned, and then Twitter tells them they can't. That's not Twitter-like. You know, I think it's sort of, now you have like the original, you know, Jack, Biz, Ev culture conflicting with the, you know, DeCostello culture, which is, you know, going to be more of like a business kind of situation. It doesn't feel good to me. I don't think it's going to feel good to the user. I think they need to really think about, you know, and this is the issue when you know, don't have the founder running the company. I think that Dick will get the ship in order, and he'll get more revenue in the door than Evan would have. But I think that at the risk of losing the soul of the company, and then Evan would obviously maybe take a little bit longer in the operational stuff and making decisions. As one person said it to me, like, you know, Dick's going to make a lot of decisions really quickly, and some of them may be mistakes, and you know he'll just make a ton of decisions, and then Ev might meditate on decisions a little bit longer. So you have just two different CEO styles, and you know they both have pros and they both have cons. And maybe Dick is making really fast decisions about this, and it results in what seems like a very authoritative, how do you say that word? Totalitarian.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a little bit sort of like that. And then Ev might have been very like, hey, you know, maybe we'll create a Twitter client someday, and I don't know if we're going to do image hosting someday. You know, like it would just be this like, you know, like, hey, we'll talk about it kind of situation. You know, like neither one is probably, there needs to be some balance between those two modes. So anyway, next story.
So the last time I did the news, we talked about One Kings Lane raising a bunch of money.
Sure.
So a couple days ago, it was announced that Nordstrom has acquired flash sale site Hotlook for $270 million.
What? Oh, I missed that. We were in the.
Yeah.
Whoa! I think Matt Coffin's a big,
Yeah.
big investor in Hotlook. He must
Series
have.
B.
They were on the show, remember?
Yeah, Hotlook was on the show. Yeah. Wow! Congratulations.
So the site, which launched in 2007, raised $41 million, and obviously offers massive discounts on women's fashion, men's fashion. Allows designers to place their excess inventory on the site at massive discounts, which gets sent out to the email addresses of their 4 million plus members. So the deal is $180 million in Nordstrom stock with a 3-year earnout of up to $90 million. So what do you think about this deal? Good move for Nordstrom's?
It's a good deal for Nordstrom's if they let the management team run Nordstrom's, and they let the culture of Hotlook, you know, permeate, you know, the Nordstrom culture and accelerate Nordstrom's, you know, dead media, you know, retailer mentality and bring them into the 21st century. The problem would be if they bought it, scrubbed management, and, you know, tried to run it like Nordstrom. You know, like they need to really look at this and say, hey, this is an extension of Nordstrom, and you know, if you buy something through it and you want to return it at Nordstrom, you can. Or if you're at Nordstrom, you could see the flash sale and buy it right there and pick it up on the spot. You know, like there's something to be done here in terms of mashing a real world. Like imagine there were Groupon stores. Hey, well, that's a great idea. What if there were Groupon stores and every hour in a Groupon store, a new deal would come up? It'd be like OTB, you know, off-track betting. This is too good of an idea. Can we cut this out of the show? No, we need a jingle for when I come up with a brilliant idea.
Get the caller back on here.
No, this is a brilliant idea. What if there was a Groupon store, and you sat there on your computer, and it was a cafe, and if you bought a Groupon that day, you could drink free coffee all day, right? Coffee was free if you buy a Groupon. And you sit there with your laptop, and you'd have all these deal people in there. And then every hour, like QVC, somebody comes up to the podium and explains the deal. And then people get to buy it. And if you're in the store, you know, the deals are better. It'd be incredible.
It'd be incredible to do a Groupon deal every hour that
Yeah, an
had
hourly
a
Groupon.
video, a live streaming video kind of quality.
Groupon should, this is an even better idea. Why doesn't
QVC
Groupon
online.
buy a cable channel and just do Groupons every 7 minutes? I mean, there's got to be an
But they're-
underperforming cable channel that is not.
Well, they're doing local. It'd be hard to do on a local
They
basis.
don't have to
yeah.
do local. Who
I
says
know
they have to do
don't, but
local? They could be doing McDonald's 1 hour. They could be doing.
They don't have to do local now, but they do.
TGI Fridays. I know, but they could be doing TGI Fridays. They could be doing Amazon. They could be doing e-retailers. They could be doing anything, and it could sell out just like QVC does. Groupon plus QVC, boom, and they could run the local deal as well. They could just say, hey, and here's your local deal, and then they cut to the whatever provider in, and then they cut to the local studio. Just like when you're watching like Good Morning America, they cut to the local weather. Anyway, let's do one more story. Congratulations,
so one more story. So this week, Greylock Investments made a $2.5 million investment in 1,000 Memories. 1000memories.com is basically a site to commemorate your loved ones who have passed on.
Yep.
Includes also high-profile angel investors Katerina Fake, Ron Conway, and Paul Bouchette, Krisaka. So what do you think about sites? Many sites have tried to do this, commemorate loved ones. Obviously, the issue that comes to mind is monetization. How do you monetize sites like this? What are your thoughts on sort of the modern obituary online like this?
I think it's necessary. I think there's a bigger issue, which is what happens to your online accounts when you die. Like, what happens to if I got hit by, God forbid, a bus today, what would happen to my Gmail account? Does my wife get it? She can't unlock it, actually. So all of that knowledge and memory dies forever, those digital assets, or do they?
I know there's a couple sites that do where you can put all your passwords and all your stuff in something, and then it emails you every so often. If you don't respond, then it assumes.
Yeah, so I mean, this is sort of a whole new world. I think it's awesome. I mean, people are going to want to commiserate and deal with it. I mean, a big part of grieving is sort of celebrating the person's life. So I think it's awesome, and I think it's done in a very classy way at 1,000 memories. Yeah.
thousandmemories.com. It always seems. I mean, people do this on Facebook with Facebook profiles, but it always seems a little bit awkward on Facebook for some reason. But
well, yeah, it's sort of like Facebook is the place of the living, not the dead. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of new grieving moments we have to deal with, like when somebody dies, what happens to their Twitter account? Do you unfollow them? What happens exactly? It's weird to, like, what if their last tweet was like they said something nasty, you know? And that's like the last tweet forever. Should the last tweet be something said by their friends on their Twitter page? You know, should their Facebook page be shut down? I don't know. And what if people start commenting on their Facebook page? Should you comment on somebody? If somebody's dead, should I be like, oh, you know, I really miss @steepdecline? Is that appropriate or not? You know? So do I delete somebody's phone number from my address book when they die? I mean, I had that keep happening. I kept dialing one person, and like the next person down was somebody who had died, and I finally got too depressed, so I deleted it. I was just, but it's a weird feeling when you're like, yeah, I'm deleting this person from the phone book, and they're dead. So anyway, I think that there's something there. Who cares about monetization? I mean, I think they'll probably come up with some sort of ideas around lockers, and that's giving a digital inheritance, so to speak. Is a really good idea, and I hope people do the digital inheritance thing. Like, you know, I would like my daughter to have all of my digital photos and videos, but not my emails. Maybe I would like her to have my emails. I don't know. Would I want to have my dad's emails if he died?
What about your grandparents' tweets?
Would I want my grandparents' tweets?
Like just when they met and all the photos. It's going to be weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. It's a whole episode. So when you know what? I'm going to approve the guy from 1,000 Memories. I'll put him on the approved sheet here. We'll have fun. Thank you to our sponsors, Bowflex, MailChimp, and of course, .co. Create your own opportunity. Thank you, Tyler, and thank you, Mike Bracco, for the news. Thank you, Leah, for coming on the program. Remember, create a .co, and you're going to get that MacBook Air on April 1st. We'll see you next time. We'll see you at the lunch conference next week.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil, but funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.